Hey, hey, Jason.
Oh, we got a doozy. A doozy.
I know. That's why I'm waving my arms and look at it in the background. Look back there.
That is crazy. Look at that. You got a whole fan base back there.
I know. It's for who? Who's the fan base
Jay Adkins today. That's right. It's time for a little Master Mentorship Class 101. Boom. Every agent needs to hear. Boom. Just blow that up again. Blow it up Boom. Again. And again. Boom. And again. Let's get into this.
Buckle up. It's the Insurance Dudes Podcast.
Boom.
Boom.
We are here.
I'm happy to be here, man. I've been looking forward to this all day, actually. I had a great conversation with Craig yesterday. Was looking forward to meeting you, and this is awesome, man.
I know, and I heard a little bit about that conversation, and I think the best way to start this podcast would be, we see you on Facebook. I think a lot of Allstate agents see you on Facebook. We don't know who you are. So maybe going back to suits, you made a comment earlier about the suits, but like going back to suits and stuff, maybe people have the wrong perception of you. So who are you? Where'd you come from? And
I was talking to Craig about this yesterday. Like my biggest goal in life is to impact as many people as possible. And
that's awesome.
There's a lot of people that have this perception, and I've recently talked to a few people. We were at Mega, and this young lady that I've helped with her ECP, and she's like, man, when I met you, I was so intimidated by you. I didn't want to talk to you. And I was like, what is that? Like, and she's like, you dress so nice. Like every time you talk, you're intense and you know a lot of things, and you're very intimidating. And I'm like, man, what can I do to remove that? Because like, I really want to help as many people as possible. I mean, that's the whole purpose behind Agency Sales Academy, Agency Marketing Machine, and even in my agency. I mean, there are some people that charge you to come to your agency, and people have just come to visit my agency and I have nothing to hide. Here it is. And I guess it's that. And, my grandfather actually embedded this in me a long time ago. He's just said, never, ever not be the best dressed person ever on an airplane, in a room, in your business. Like, it doesn't matter if everyone is dressed down, you're going to be the guy that stands out. And I think it was good advice, but sometimes I think it hurts me because people think, who the hell is this guy and why is he dressed this way? And again, I listened to you guys' podcast this morning and I heard you guys say that. And I think it's a brand that everyone has, right? Like some people don't like a tie because you said on your thing, it's like having a noose around your neck. And, I get that. Like, but this is where I'm comfortable. This is how I like to dress. And, I bring people, every time I'm on an airplane, people ask me, what do you do? Because no one wears a suit on an airplane anymore. But every time I sit on an airplane, someone says, hey, what do you do? And I strike up a conversation with people. So going way back, I grew up very, very poor, zero money. My dad, every time I wanted something, told me he couldn't afford it. I had Bobos, which you guys probably remember are the like 4-stripe fake Adidas from Kmart that I used to get made fun of at school. And, so once I started to learn how to make money when I was 12 years old, and that was like mowing yards, and I became a caddy and delivered newspapers and worked in a lumber yard, I started making money, and I was like, I'm going to wear Levi's. I'm going to wear Jordache. For some people that are listening, they might not know what the hell Jordache is, but it was a really nice, expensive jean that was cool that we used to pin on the bottom and roll up and wear penny loafers with it. So that's how I grew up. And I became an entrepreneur at a very young age. And once I tasted money, and knowing that if I work hard, I could have whatever I want. And then I joined the Air Force because I wanted a college education. And my dad was a maintenance man at a hospital making back then probably $6, $7 an hour. My mom was a housekeeper making $4 or $5 an hour, cleaning after patients and surgeries. And so I wanted a college education because no one in my family had a college education, but no one could afford to send me there. So I went in the Air Force to go to college, and I got deployed to Dhahran, Saudi Arabia back in 2003. And it was a wake-up call for the entrepreneur inside of me because they basically put me in prison for 9 months and said, you got to work 12-hour shifts and you do what we say. And then I got out, and I was going to be a state highway patrolman. Thank God that didn't happen because I probably would still be one, and I'd be making, $50,000 a year. be ate up and probably be an a-hole. So I got recruited, and I actually, believe it or not, went to work for Waffle House. And I
love Waffle House.
I don't. So anyways, I was, when I got deployed, I used to race motorcycles with this guy, and I saw him at the mall. And I know this is a long story, but it'll kind of tell you a little bit about me, what you want to know. So, so I saw this friend that I raced motorcycles with, and I, saw him out at the mall, and he's like, dude, where you been? And back then, we didn't have cell phones or pagers or any of that. Like back in, it was, I'm sorry, I didn't get deployed in 2003. It was 1993. Sorry.
The other one. Yeah.
Yeah. Way back. So we didn't have cell phones and pagers. And so when you got deployed in 48 hours, you couldn't call anybody. I said, hey, man, what are you doing? He's like, I'm working at Waffle House. I was like, where? He was like, Waffle House. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Why? And he was like, hey, man, they're paying me like $80,000 a year to train as a manager. And I was like, listen, if they paid me $1 million, I wouldn't work at Waffle House. Like, I don't understand why you're working there. And he's like, dude, it's $80,000 and I'm going to have my own restaurant. He said, hey, do me a favor, man. Part of my job, what makes me look good is if I recruit folks and I bring them in, you don't even have to take the job. If you just interview, it'll make it look like, hey, I'm doing my job. And like, I'm not interviewing for Waffle House, man. It's not gonna happen. Come on, man, please. Like, just go. So I went in, I interviewed. It was a 15-minute interview, and I was like, listen, I appreciate the opportunity, man, but this is just not me. I'm not like. So anyways, I was on my way out. These executives walked in, took me to play golf. Next day, I was in a Waffle House next to a 400-pound man named Tiny, and he was flipping eggs. And I had a 4.5-year career at Waffle House.
Wow.
And I became a regional manager. I had 18 restaurants up and down Interstate 95. I worked about 110 hours a week, 7 days a week, never a day off. And really my success story there was I just did everything I was told to do. They taught me systems and processes, just like we have in our business. And I implemented them to the T. In my position, I was the youngest by 25 years. So the next person in my position in the company was 25 years older than me. And I tell people, like, it wasn't because I was smart, because I wasn't smart at all. They just said, do this way. And I did it. So every time someone would come in and correct me, and I was so young and impressionable, and these guys were older than me, and I just followed it. So then I went from Waffle House. I just hated it. I was in like 7 hurricanes because Waffle Houses never close their doors. There's no keys to the door. So you can only lock the restaurant from the inside because they're open 365 days a year. And even during a hurricane, as soon as a hurricane passes, we have gas grills. So you're serving the public.
Wow.
Come in because we can make money. We can serve chicken sandwiches and burgers and steaks. And so the business only stops for the hour and a half that the eye is going over. And then you're back in business with no power, no vents to take all the steam off of the grills out. So I was through 7 hurricanes, and finally the last hurricane that came through, we had flooding and we still had to work. No one could get to us. I said, you know what? I've had enough. And I got recruited. You
weren't the right to quit at that point.
This is a funny story. So I went to my best friend's birthday's house, or to his house for his birthday. He was 30 at the time, and his sister's best friend husband was trying to recruit me to go work at New York Life. And at the time, I was making about $380,000 at Waffle House at the age of 25. So I was making a lot of money, and this was back in 1998. So in today's dollars, I was making $600,000 a year, $500,000 a year, right? So he tried to recruit me. I was like, man, I'm the golden child at Waffle House. Like, I'm going to be running this company one day. And then I went on vacation after that conversation. I literally could not wake up Monday morning after my vacation was over, because every day that went by, I was dreading the fact that I had to go back to work. And I called my boss that is now on death row.
No.
Let me repeat that. Killing someone and chopping their head off. And I used to sleep in a hotel. I used to sleep in a hotel with this guy.
Would have been you,
probably at least 200 nights.
Oh my God.
So this is after effect. So anyways, I called this guy and I said, listen, I need to meet you. And we would meet on the highway, right? Because all the Waffle House were on the highway. We met in a gas station that had a Subway in it. And I sat down with him. I said, hey, man, I'm going to give you a 2-month notice, but I can't do this anymore. He's like, wow, 2-month notice. He's like, I don't think anybody's ever given me a 2-month notice. I was like, well, I'm in a position. I know it's not an easy position to replace. And I want to train the next person and make sure that you're good. And he was like, but why are you leaving? I was like, I hate what I do every single day. Like, I absolutely hate what I do. Like, if I had $1 for every single person that I walked up to their table and asked them how their meal was, and they would look up at me and with this confused look on their face and be like, you work here? I would be a gazillionaire. Because every single day I would write, that's the question. Yeah, I work here. Yeah, I actually run this one and about 18 others of these. And oh my God, you don't look like you should work here. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I work here. So anyways, I tell her,
you were in your nice suit, right?
No. But I did wear a tie. I was one of the only guys. I wore a tie and a white shirt every day. And
Nice.
And they actually changed the dress code for upper management from me doing that. They liked it so much, they changed it. So anyways, I told him, I was like, I'm going to quit. And he was like, why? And I was like, I hate it. And he was like, partner, you need to go to Hollywood. And he was really country guy. And I was like, Hollywood? And he was like, you a good damn actor. He was like, because if anybody in this company, I thought you loved what you did. And I was like, listen, I'm just going to do my job to 1,000%. And I've got 1,000 employees in all these restaurants working for me. If they see me sweat and see that I hate my job every day, I'm never going to be staffed. They're going to hate what they do. So anyways, I decided to go work for New York Life for a year. And again, it's a long story, but I'll tell you a little bit about me. Like, I've had an interesting, colorful life. And I went to work for New York Life. And within a year, I was a top sales guy there because, again, not the brightest star in the room, but what they taught me to do, they taught me a system. I did it. My sales manager at the time said, make 150 dials every single day, go out and give 100 business cards in the community every single day. And I did that. And, I was successful. And then I walked into a securities class and I met my best friend's manager, which is FSL today in our world. And they tried to recruit me in Allstate. So I went to work for Allstate Management back in 1998. So I was an AMT, which was an agency manager trainee. And I did that for about a year. And then when I was in his office training, an agent from Texas came in and said, so how do you like this Allstate Management thing? And I was like, oh, it's good, man. I'm making good money. And he was like, what do you make a year? And I was like, yeah, they're paying me like 85. And he was like, that's not bad. And so he laid a paycheck down in front of me and he was like, but you don't make that. And it was like a $72,000 check. And I was like, I just told you I make like 85. And he was like, yeah, but that's for a month. And I was like, oh wait, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. And so that's when I made I talked to my TSL at the time and I started Scratch. And I wasn't real good with money. So I spent a lot of money and I liked cars and, I liked to go out and stuff because I was young. So I started my agency Scratch. I got a $50,000 loan from my best friend's father for a day that I had to pay $6,000 for because he put the money in my account so I could fake it to Allstate that I actually had money in my account to open an agency. And then I had to give it back to him the very next day. And I lived in my car for 3 months, July 1st of 2001 until September 1st of 2001. And I went door to door and I hung flyers. And that's how I built my business. I had 0 employees. It was just me, myself, and I. No file cabinets. I had one desk. And I told the world I was going to be the biggest agent in the country. And I was going to do everything I could to do it. And that's how I built my business to start. And then I got into acquisitions. I learned that. I reached out to Chris Burke. I found out who was the best at that. I learned. And then I just started acquiring agencies. And now this ECP contract, which is pretty amazing, that I've figured out how to leverage it, how to grow it, what to do on the front end, the middle, the end. And excuse me, that's my story. I mean, that's where I've arrived from. So I came from literally nothing to now. And my employees, I want to bring them with me. I want them to be able to have the opportunity to run my operation, have a percentage of my business. I want to help as many agents out there as I can because I would not be where I am today without everyone pouring into me that has poured into me and answered my questions and done everything that it could to make my business better. So that's why, I wish people would get to know me, because, if I could have a 10-minute conversation and change your life or change your perspective or change how you look at financing or how you look at the equity in your book or how you look at buying agencies or how you look at opening this ECP contract or even this comp change that we're having right now. I mean, people are focusing on the wrong thing. They moved our cheese. Our cheese got moved. So, but we can still make money. I mean, this is a beautiful contract. It's a beautiful business. Now, I can make a lot of other money, and we're entrepreneurs. We can go open up the other businesses. I'm going into real estate. We both have training companies that we have out there that we're helping to train agents. I mean, there's a lot of ways to make money, but listen, this contract, 15 years, I can sell my business for $9 million. I mean,
right.
They're going to change our contract because the company's not making money. What can I do? I can't do anything. I'm going to call Tom and be like, Tom, I think it's a really bad idea. You know what, Jay? We're going to change it back. Not going to happen, I mean, here's the rules of the game. How the hell do we win? Everyone else is going to focus on you taking this away from us. And my attitude is, it's a good business. I'm going to make money. And every change that ever has been made, I've always made more money, always. Because I'm going to not bitch about it for 10 months or 11 months. I'm going to say, what do I got to do? What triggers do I have to pull? And that's what everyone's going to do right now, right? Facebook's blowing up with all the negativity, and I support them. But if you want to sell, I'll buy.
Right.
All day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same. When people freak out in the real estate market, when the market corrects, what do people do?
They're all
They sell, right? And what a lot of people don't do, they don't buy. That's when you buy.
Right.
Yep.
So that's what I want to help agents think about differently, is this Allstate opportunity is a good opportunity. Insurance business is a great opportunity. I mean, I know you guys don't just speak to insurance Allstate agents, but all insurance, I mean, sometimes I pinch myself and think, one, I won the lottery, and two, how did I get involved in this racket? Because someone's going to come to me one day and be like, you're going to go to jail because you've been taking people's monies every 6 months over and over and over and over again. Like, it's crazy. I mean, is it not crazy, you guys? I mean, it's a crazy business.
Yeah,
it is.
It's a law. Like, it's nuts. Like, people focus on the wrong, and Allstate people focus on people taking customers, or State Farm. This person's Allstate has 9% of the market. State Farm has 17% of the market. If you're a State Farm agent, that means you have 83% of the market you could take. That's a lot. Like, I live on a road where there's at least 500,000 people that drive by every day. Those are all potential customers.
Everybody.
So, anyways, I've talked enough. So I get a little passionate about, this is why people are intimidated, right? Because I have all this passion, this intensity, and I just really believe that what we do and where we can go and the amount of money that we can make, like, no one's tapping their potential, not even me. I could be 150 million agency now, and I'm not. The only reason why is because of me.
Yep. And I think you tapped into the entrepreneurial spirit of you that maybe a lot of people don't have, is like, if there's a problem, you just find the solution. Like, you can bitch. There's two things. Something changed, right? You either bitch about it, or you might, okay, everybody's going to bitch a little bit, like, it sucks, right? But how do we solve the problem? There's a problem, solve it. And to your point, you've made more money in those times because you've switched some stuff around, right?
It's easy to bitch. It's hard to come up with a solution, right? It's hard to think about, man, I might have to work a little harder, but maybe not. Maybe work smarter, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if you don't like what it is right now, no one says you have to be in your agency every single day. Train someone, spend time developing people in your agency to become better, because this is the thing, right? This is what I truly believe. Everyone wants to point a finger at all the problems in Allstate. If everyone actually just put a mirror in front of their desk every day and say, what can I do different? How can I develop my business different every single day? How can I develop my people? How can I ask them to ask for more recommendations? Easy cake business. Nobody does a good job of asking for recommendations. Nobody. We preach it every single day, but we talk about it for 2 or 3 days, and then something better comes along that we're talking about. Oh, we need IPS. Oh, we need production credits at the end of the year. And then we forget about the recommendations for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah,
right.
Like,
we're not talking about it. Right. So you're all over the place as an agency owner. If you just focus on what works, and I'll tell you what works. You guys are smart. You guys have a training platform too. Training works if it's consistent every single day.
Yep.
Making sure that you have things that you're looking at, inspecting every single day. You know, we have a bingo card that Laura Harris gave us that we're looking at every single activity that every single person does. And it's a game. They can win $100 a week. Whoever we pull the card out, whoever gets the most cards in, we make the business fun. So if you're not tracking activity, if you're not teaching people to do things the right way, you're not paying attention to compliance, which, you know, you blame the company for getting fired for compliance. What did you do to make sure it didn't happen? Right. So that's what I would challenge everyone listening, is to look at yourself, look in your own box and say, what can I do better to take my business to the next level?
Right.
Yep.
It's not like,
if you're negative, it's going to come out to your staff, man. They're going to feel it.
yeah.
They're going to be right behind it. And it's going to be just an implosion of your business because you're negative, they're negative.
yeah. It's not like the laws of physics have changed here and we have to figure out how to get to the moon with a whole different set of instructions. They tell us, they say, this is the situation. Now you can still do it. Here's how to do it. We have all the numbers. We have all the reports. Everything's there. We just have to move. We just have to pivot a little bit, right?
Yep. And you got to be able to pivot fast. And it sucks, you know, but listen, nothing is going to ever stay the same. I mean, I remember when I came into the Allstate contract back in 2001, when I was a manager in 2000, the only reason I became an agent besides that check that he showed me was because everyone was griping about the changes of underwriting. Everybody was complaining about all the things that were wrong with Allstate. And I was like, man, these guys are focused on the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're focused on the wrong thing. And it does, you know, when you play with people's money, it tends to piss people off, right? You know, and we have IS right now, which is our money. But, you know, there's always a win. You know, if you focus on what to do right, they're not going to mess with the guys. If you're in the top 20% of a company, there's no company out there dumb enough to mess with those guys. In any company, I'm talking insurance, I'm talking in mortgage, I'm talking in real estate, you're not going to mess with your money. I mean, we all know that in any company, 20% of the agents are producing 80% of any company's results.
Yep.
So fight for that 20%. Be in that top 20%. And if they do make a change, you're going to be the last person to be effed with, the very last. So just go there instead of being like, oh, because, you know, you've heard 90% of what we worry about never happens.
Right.
And you're distracted. You're not focused on the right thing. Like, focus on your business. And then if something happens, it just takes action. You just got to change a little bit and go make that money. Because there's still, this business is amazing. Even if they took us down another percent, there's still money to be made.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, like, honestly, with my business and, you know, both agencies, with what we're doing and what we're on track for and everything, it literally, like, we ran the numbers, it literally is going to net us more money with how much we're selling and everything else. So I would say definitely investigate on before you just see there's a haircut here and there. It's like, well, yeah, but like, what are you doing? And really, what are the numbers, you know? For smaller agencies.
Yeah, even for bigger agencies, right? I'm going to lose, you know, $380,000, but I can make on the upside $560,000, doing exactly what I'm doing right now, the same amount of production.
Yep.
But what if I did more?
There you go.
I can make $750,000. So now the number that I'm doing, so now it makes you think, right? It's a kick in the, you know what?
Yes.
That makes you think about things differently and say, okay, but what if? What if I do this? What if I do that? And maybe I have to invest another $100,000, but I'm going to make it another $300,000. And oh, by the way, I'm building my book. So the 1% that I lost, I've built my book. You know, so I mean, it's just, it's all just, I mean, it's totally a mind F, like if you let it be, right? Because we just get stuck and we want to, people don't want to do any more work. I don't think you have to do more work. I just think you got to be smarter. I think you got to have the right conversation with your people. You got to put the right processes in play. If you do that, and I think go all in. I was talking to you yesterday, Craig, about, I have equity in my book.
Mm-hmm.
That equity sitting in my book right now is actually losing money. So yeah, let's just say, I have $1 million of equity, let's say. What's it doing for me right now?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Well, what if I took that $1 million and I wanted to open up an ECP?
It'll be doing something.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's just say I take $300,000 of it. Let's just say it's $300,000. It's going to cost me $2,400 a month for that money for 3 or 4 months. In an ECP, I can pay that money back in 90 days. Yep. If I go out there and I crank $200,000 out, I'm going to build a $5 million book in 16 months. I got a debt-free book that paid me $2 million that I can now sell for 1.5. So I've turned $300,000 into $3.5 million in 18 months. You tell me what deal out there is better than that. I can't buy a piece of real estate and flip it in 18 months and make $3.5 million unless I'm buying like a $10 million property and the market goes really high and I can sell it for $13.5 million.
And you get your principal back right away.
There's no debt. Zero debt. You've paid all your principal back. So even if you want to grow your book and hit a bonus, there's so many ways. Let's just say you don't even want to do insurance. Let's say you do want to put in real estate. Let's say you want to take equity out of your book, $500,000 to go out and start buying and flipping properties and have some there's so many opportunities. So take your eye off of here and say, okay, what can I do? What can I do with this money? And just make money work for you, because everyone has equity in their book. Everyone does, unless you've just bought a book. But still, if you just bought a book, think about it. The book's paying for the loan. Yep. And you're pulling cash flow out of it. Tell me any other business that you can make. When you buy a $5 million book, you can pull at least $8,000 to $10,000 immediately cash flow out of that agency. There's no other business in the world that you can go buy and have that immediate equity.
Crazy.
So what other questions you guys got?
And then you can
talk about processes
Well, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, Jay, and I think that a lot of agents, there's this self-limiting belief that you can't own the building, right? And now I am. I'm closing on building number 2 on Friday. A year ago, I would have said, I could never have a building, and it just took a little bit of research, and it's like, wait, yeah, I can, right? And how many of us are paying rent for this building? It's just paying off somebody else's loan. Yep,
it's still the same write-off. It's still an expense to the business. You can write it off. In 20 years, you have something that's going to always, you have a sellable asset that's paid off. That's $300,000, $400,000, $600,000, $700,000. And if you stay in it for 20 years, the business is always going to pay rent. If not, I don't want to say you're stupid, but it would be kind of stupid not to have the business have that write-off, right? You need write-offs to your business. So, and it's money coming to you. So, it's just, that's why there's so many different, and even training. There's so many layers, people could start a recruiting company. How hard is it to find good people in this business? Any business, but how hard is it to find good people in this business? So you gotta get creative and think, where are our problems in our business? Where are our problems? People. Yep. That's our problem. Finding 100%. Good people, getting people to do their job. So, that I went through the EOS training, which was transformative to my business. I don't know if you guys have heard of that or not, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. One of the best investments I've made. Cost me about $35,000 over a year, which, by the way, is the same cost of an employee that works for us that doesn't do that great of a job, probably, that we've invested in, but it changes the business. And one of the things she came in and said to me, the first question she asked me is like, what's the number one problem in your business? I said, hiring and finding good people. She's like, well, why don't you hire a recruiter? I was like, oh, yeah. Why don't I hire a recruiter? Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Pay someone $50,000, $60,000. I have that money just laying around. I'll just do that. And she's like, well, didn't you say you have like a big bonus every year that you could lose if you lose people? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, don't you think a $50,000 investment would be worth not losing your big bonus? Because if you lose 3 or 4 people, and I'm like, well, yeah, I guess you're right. That is.
Yeah.
really good idea. So I hired a full-time recruiter so that I don't have to, when I lose people, I have people on the bench. I don't have to worry about replacing them because we always constantly have, and we don't have time as agency owners to do all these things. We don't, and we try to, and that's why we fail. We try to do everything. We try to absolutely do every single job. Even the guys that are $2 or $3 million, that's why they never get above that. Because they're the CPA, they're the manager in the office, they're the sales manager, the service manager. So you can't grow, but you got it. So when you have a $3 million book, now I'm going to tell you, go back to equity again. Pull some equity out. Hire a recruiter. Hire a CPA. Hire people that can do the things so that you can actually work on your business instead of, I mean, you guys aren't working in your business. You wouldn't be able to do this podcast as often as you do and pour into, I mean, this podcast is, I mean, you guys making about $2 or $3 million a year doing this? Or are you guys trying to help agents?
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, this is time, and you guys enjoy doing this, and you enjoy pouring into people. So I mean, that's amazing. It's amazing you guys are doing this, man. You guys are actually putting this together. I'm so happy that you guys invited me on here to talk about things.
Well, we appreciate the heck out of it. I mean, it's awesome to see what and for people that haven't heard your backstory, to see what you've gone through, where you're at today, is incredible. So, and I think it does go back to the way you've built it. You have built it by helping other people. You care about other people, and those other people help you, in which you have given them the acknowledgement for that, have helped you build it. So it's not, it's like a reciprocating thing.
I've stole everything, man. I'm a thief. I am. I did not invent anything. I am not an inventor. I am a thief. So I've stole a lot from Laura Harris. I've stole a lot from agents that are massive. Now I might change it or tweak it a little bit, but I just make it better. But I have never reinvented not one single wheel or process in my agency one time. I ask lots of questions. And that's what I would tell the listeners to do. Ask lots of questions. I mean, I'll ask anything, because if you don't answer, you don't want to answer. You just tell me, I mean, I didn't lose anything. But more than likely, I mean, people love to share stuff. People love to brag on themselves. They like to tell you what they've done and what they've accomplished. And I mean, we're egotistical human beings that we just want the world to know how great we are. So like, I just ask you, I'm like, so how did you do that? And that's what all I've done my entire life, is I just leached onto people. Even you, like, I've learned a lot from you yesterday, Craig. And, just you had a smile the whole time on your face. I know some people are not seeing this unless they're watching it on YouTube, but you've had a smile on your face the whole time, man. Like, to me, that's something I need. If I did that more, maybe people wouldn't think I was such an intense a-hole. They would think, hey, this guy's approachable. I mean, you have this charisma about you, Jason, that immediately when you popped on here, and you've had it the entire time. The smile hasn't left your face. So that's an amazing characteristic. So I just think that, the way that we handle every single situation in our life, and the way that we ask questions in our life, and the way that we approach people is how we can become better. And you guys are doing that. You guys have something out there for everyone to listen to. And, I listened to Stephanie this morning, and I learned from her. You guys had some great questions for her. There were a couple other guys that you talked to. I mean, just the way that you guys are asking questions, it pulls things out of people, and people want to share. So just ask questions and learn every single day. Ask questions. I don't care who it is. Guy on the elevator, he's driving a Rolls. How the hell did you get that Rolls Royce? How the hell did you afford to do that? Like, how did you get there?
Yeah. And it's getting out of that comfort zone, because that doesn't feel comfortable like the first time, right?
Yeah, because they're richer than you. They have more money than you, and you're sitting here and they're looking at your shoes, and they got on Gucci's and you got on Payless, and they're looking at. I mean, but the guy's going to want to tell you. He'll tell you. Yeah. I mean, you just got to ask him and just pump him up. Be like, man, I really love your car. It's been my dream car my entire life. Like, how the hell did you get to a point where you tell me your story? And they'll tell you.
That's awesome.
And if they're not, then move on to the next person. There's 7 billion people on the planet.
It doesn't matter. People are so scared of failure, right? They're scared to take that step out of their comfort zone and break through. But you have to.
And people are people.
I failed. Yes. They all put their pants on the same exact way, man. One leg at a time, if you're smart. Unless you're just jumping in them. But dude, I've failed so many times. That's how I've learned. I mean, I have failed many, and I still am. I'm still failing every single day, but I'm going after it every single day. I fail with employees. I fail with coaching. I fail with mentoring. I fail every single day because everybody's personality is completely different. And, you think you're going to handle them a certain way, and then you fail. And it's like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe that shouldn't have popped out of my mouth. And so it's all about failing, man. But now making the same mistake more than once, to me, is stupidity. Right. If you don't learn from that mistake and get better from it, then you're just stupid. And I'll tell you, one of the things that has changed my life is my morning routine. So I was telling Craig yesterday, so I've always been a big reader, but I've probably finished like one book in my entire life. And I think it was The Notebook, and I had to write a report on it in college. So it wasn't like a book that actually really taught me anything. I know it should have taught me about love, but I think I missed that part of it. I just got caught up in the Alzheimer's story at the end. So I last year, part of the EOS, I also hired an executive assistant. Best hire on my team ever. She is absolutely out of this world, amazing. And one of the first things that was on my calendar that she saw was transcendental meditation. And it was on there for 3 years. I just never had the time to go to it. And
for anybody that doesn't know what that is, what is that?
Transcendental meditation is just a form of meditation that anybody can do, especially someone like me that brain never stops, and I'm crazy man all the time, and so so the thing about transcendental meditation is the main premise of it is not to try. So I was always really intimidated by meditation because I was like, okay, I'm going to be like floating in the air, and my fingers are going to be up in the air, and my legs are going to be crossed, which I'm not flexible. I'm like, I'm not even going to meditate. I can't get my legs in the right position. So I went to this meditation, this class, and they were like, listen, don't try. And I was like, awesome. I don't have to try to meditate. This is the best. And so it's a 4-day course, 2 hours. 4 days in a row, and they basically teach you a mantra, and it's been just transformational for me. I do it twice a day, 20 minutes. I wake up at 5 a.m. It's the first thing I do. I just go to my office and I meditate for 20 minutes. I grab a cup of coffee and I read for an hour in the morning, and then I go to the gym. And it's 2 hours, 2.5 hours every single day. I put 44 hours in my month just focused on me. It's before my household wakes up. And I was not a morning person. I actually literally hated mornings. I hated waking up in the morning. And I read the 5 a.m. Club. And so I was doing all these things before I read the 5 a.m. Club. And it just he just said, do it at 5 because it's the best part of the day. You get just a huge jump on the day. And it has literally changed everything about my life. That one small change. And I've been doing it now about 132 days in a row. And it's a habit. I wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm ready to go. I enjoy the process. My wife's now in it, which is crazy because she loved to sleep in. And she's actually in the club. I've got some of my employees I call every morning to wake them up and make sure that they're in it. And so the book part of it, I started a book club with my team at my kickoff meeting. I said, who would want to get in a book club? And really it was for my own accountability because I wanted to be held accountable to something. And I knew if I started this, so we just read 15 pages Monday through Friday. And we read about a book every 15 to 20 days. It's crazy because most books are between 170 and 225 pages. So we finish a book about every 3 weeks, every 2.5 weeks. Like we just started The Compound Effect today, and we'll get it done in 2 weeks because it's only 156 pages. So we'll be done with that book and what it's done for my team. And we've got people from home office on it. I would love to have you guys on it, especially smart as you guys are. Well, what we do is we just do takeaways. So everyone just speaks up. We do a big Zoom meeting and they can get on. And any listeners, if you guys want to join it, there's no cost. It's all I want to do is help people. It's called the Next Level Book Club. You can go on Facebook or you can send Lola an email at Lola at ProVestInsurance.com. I hope you guys are okay with me saying that. I know this
totally. This is awesome.
Again, it's totally nothing. There's nothing behind it besides we just get on and we help each other. I mean, we've got people in all industries on it now that we just talk about life, how it affects our personal life, how it affects our business life. So if you guys want to join, that book club, we'd love to have you guys in. And again, It's 15 pages and it takes about 20 minutes. Even if you're a slow reader, it takes about 20 minutes to read 15 pages, because we're not reading like any good book, any big, complicated books. But I'd love to have as many. I mean, if I could grow this thing to, 50,000 people and people are reading and improving their life, it would be amazing. And there's never going to be anything sold to you. There's not going to be, it's not even about that. It's just about getting people to read. And what it does for me, it sets my mind every morning right. Like, because I don't know about you guys, but all these changes, if I'm being completely transparent, I wake up feeling like there's about a 500-pound man on my chest, right when I wake up in the morning. And then, I go meditate and I read and I get my mind right. And, it's just a good set for the day. So that's my morning ritual. And again, if you guys want to come on the book club, man, we would love to have your brains on there. It would be amazing.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. And, it's funny because you're talking about how your brain goes. I mean, talk about that chest, like that weight on your chest. I have never, in the last 10 years, I was a pile in my 20s and I kind of went through this transformational period. There hasn't been a day that I haven't felt like that weight's on my chest. As good as it gets. Like I feel that all the time. And it's crazy. Yeah. And it's good to be able to, there are times where you can get that release. And
do you meditate?
Dude, me? No, I pray. I don't have.
It's similar. It's similar. I mean, pray is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a part of it. But I mean, I don't know a lot. I mean, some people pray for 20 minutes, but the meditation really is just like, you're kind of like clearing space, and you should try it, man. I promise you, I will tell you,
I need to,
I promise you it will change your life. I will tell you, the first meeting that you have, it was a little, to me, I thought like, what did I get myself into? Because it was like a little ceremonial thing that we do for like 5 minutes. And I'm literally standing there with one eye open, watching because he's telling me to close my eyes. And I'm just like, what the hell is he doing? Like, what is this? Like, what's happening? But after that, man, after they start teaching you the process, it's just, they dedicate it to the guy that created it. And, that's just the beginning. But if you guys do anything in your life, I promise you that one thing will change everything for you.
I'll definitely try it. I love trying stuff like that. That's one of those things that is a little intimidating maybe at first, right? You hear about meditation and you're talking about like folding your legs and everything. I mean, that's kind of what you get. Or the other thing that comes to mind is like, there's so much to do today. Like, how am I going to, it's the low.
When I started it, like they were like 40 minutes a day. I'm like,
really?
I don't have 40 minutes. But you got to make it. You got to make it.
Cool. Even if you do 5, it makes a difference. But I like to put 20 in the morning, and the days that I don't, there's a noticeable difference. And the days that I do, I've had like Jazz back here the other day. He said, "You look like different," and I did like a 35-minute, and it was just like, you just are different. Everything it stops the wheel from spinning.
For sure. Craig, let me tell you a secret. So you see this?
Yeah.
So at 3:30, I put my bows and I meditate in my office. Everyone in the office knows. And at 3:50, my assistant puts this on my desk.
Oh, nice.
Every day. And after meditation and a coffee, I'm telling you, man, like the next 4 hours are absolutely the most productive 4 hours you have in a day, man. They are absolutely amazing. So add a coffee. That's why I do it in the morning too. So I meditate and have coffee. But Tony Robbins guy suggested to drink it right before you meditate. And then when you come out of the meditation, you're just like a rocket. I tried it, and like the end of my meditation, I was just like kind of, want to jump out. Man, how else can I help? Like any process in the agency? I mean, I know this. You guys are trying to dig information out, but you guys are really smart dudes, man. Is there anything we could share? Like, I want to share with the listeners, but like, how do you guys have your success, man? No one ever asked you guys questions. I listened to 3. Like, you guys are massively successful dudes, man. Like, how are you? What would you say the number one thing that I could say I learned from the insurance dudes that is your biggest reason for your success?
Well, you likely do these things, but I mean, remaining consistent and not expecting to get the results now from what you're doing, right? It's these steps are what lead to the thing
That's
down
the
the road
right there.
And, there's a lead time to everything. Just like you get the internet lead comes in, it's not necessarily going to be closed right now. Maybe 1 in 100 are, right? But
It's
in
not
4 months, it's 1 in 1,000. But you get, if you call like these guys. So I have a bunch of new guys because I'm opening the ECP on 11/1, and so we've been pumping in a lot of internet leads. And one of them sold something yesterday. It was his second sale, but he was real pumped because he followed our process. We have this thing called build a wall, and we do all these different steps. But I said, "What call was that on?" And he looked it up, 10th. And then today he got another one. He goes, "This was 10th call too." I'm like, I wonder if there's a pattern developing, right? It's the 10th call. So the 10th and beyond is when things start to happen, right? But it doesn't happen without that first call happening. And people are intimidated to make that first call because they don't see the result. And in all the groups, whether it's your group or my group or whatever group, you see people saying, internet leads suck. And I always say, how many times did you call them?
Yep.
I don't know. Well, if you don't know, then how do you know they suck? You got to call them 10 times.
Yeah.
Or Jason's in California, it's 30 times. But they call
Close to it. Yeah. A lot of them.
Whatever you need to do.
And that's what the thing is like what I tell them is, we have 144,000 leads that we didn't close. Call them.
A lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a phone number, you have a name, we have a quote in the system. Like that's more than most every other company has, right? They didn't close them, but that's what people don't stick with it, right? It's like they're people are only focused on what's right in front of them today. It's a hot lead. But actually, the lead that you've talked to 7 times is way hotter than that fresh lead coming on the internet because it sucks. I mean, they probably didn't even request it. It was probably something they clicked on that they put some different information on. And I mean, who knows how the leads are aggregated really?
Right.
I mean, but it's a human person that's answering the phone, or that you can text message through Hearsay Social, or, that you can call over and over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I would say for me is self-limiting beliefs. I think, and I look back in the last, 15 years or 20 years or whatever, since I was a teenager. And when I was the dumbest, like I dropped out of school, I dropped out of school to play in bands, and then my girlfriend broke up with me. And as soon as she broke up with me, within 1 week, I was on the road at the age of 17 and traveling around the US and Canada, playing drums in bands, getting paid. And it was just naive, like, whatever, dude. I just hit up the bands that I know that needed people. And you know what I mean? Like, there was no, and then in my 20s, I went nuts and became, at the end of it, just a couch surfer, horrible waste of a human. And then like everything since then has been a constant, like literally there was a point in life that I didn't think I could get any job. And I didn't think I was good at anything. And I was like, the music thing didn't work out. And I can't put any more effort into it because I can't do it anymore. So then it was these constant steps to get over. And then like now I honestly feel like there's nothing that I can't do. And I look back and it's like, wow, every step that I took, I set the bar a little bit higher and a little bit higher. And it's like, why not just set the bar into orbit?
Stratosphere. Yes.
Yeah. Because then instead of going up steps, you'd have that center focus, and there might, there's going to be roadblocks and stuff, but you know exactly where to go.
Yeah, I think it's because most people are afraid of failure, like you talked about earlier, right? Like if it's way up there, you're failing. But if it's just steps, it's like, I got almost there, like, and you can start, having this conversation with yourself that I'm not a total failure. But being a total failure can help sometimes, right? Because you're like, 100%. I need to readjust. What you're talking about, I talked to Craig about this yesterday, and I'll help you guys with this. You guys have to get Gary John Bishop on here. This guy is a genius. He is I mean, his philosophy. Have you read Unfuck Yourself?
No, not
You
yet.
got to
I've
listen
heard
to
about
it in
it.
the car. You got to
Okay.
listen to it in the car, man. I mean,
Really?
Your listeners. So he came to our Agency Sales Academy event a couple weeks ago, and I read his book, and I loved him. I gave it to my wife. I gave it to my 15-year-old son. I Instagrammed him, and I said, "Hey, man, I would love to have you at my event. What would you charge?" And so he's so big time. His talent company actually reached out to me and was like, this is what we're going to charge, whatever. We went through the whole process. And so I started promoting it on Facebook, and, it's got the, word fuck in it, so some people were offended by the language, and said, I can't believe you're doing this. I'm never going to come to another ASA event. Like, this is just crazy. Like, I'm not going to unfriend you. I'm going to unfollow you. And I started questioning my instinct. And I was like, crap, man, did I offend people? And then I had him on a webinar, and he freaking blew me away, like his thought process. And then I had him at ASA, and he blew all 250 people away. Like, he literally, if you've ever been in a fun house and you go stand in front of a mirror and there's 15 versions of yourself, he basically put a mirror in front of every single person in that room and made you look in that mirror and be like, you know what? The only reason I'm not having the success I want in my life is a story I'm telling myself, like you just said.
Yep.
And because I'm in my own damn way, and everything I'm telling myself is not true. Like this guy stood up and was like, so, yeah, great session, man. Really loved what you had to say, but you think it's going to change my life in 30 minutes. You can't come in here and make me change everything I'm doing in 30 minutes. It's like, not true. I mean, that's what you tell yourself, but that's absolutely not true. And one of the things that impacted me, that changed me forever, man, is I'm a big man of my word. Like, if I tell you I'm going to do something, I will die. I don't care if it's a friend, a family member. Like, I will die. I will die doing it. Like, I will do everything in my power. But one of the things I didn't do is keep promises to myself.
Ooh.
So, and we all don't. So
we all don't. That's 100%.
I mean, so like everything from like diet, what I put in my body, working out, getting enough sleep, taking care of my business the way I should, doing everything I should do in my business every single day. Like you say, like I journal every day, write goals down, but I fall short every single day because I don't apply the same principle in my life. Because if I told you I'm going to do something today, I'm going to do it. If I'm sick, if I feel like crap, I'm still going to do it because I told you I'm going to do it. Like, that's just what my grandfather also taught me. Like, you only have one thing, and that's your word. If you tell someone you're going to do something, you got to live into it. And Gary was like, but the most important person that you should be credible to is yourself.
Yeah.
And if you live in that space, what you'll be able to give the world is so much more. Because we let ourselves down there. And so that's why you guys should have, but he's so much deeper than that, man. There's so many like my friend, man, stood up and was like, ask him a 2-sentence question. And he's like one of my best friends. I've known him for like 25 years. And he was like, you know what? You're a charismatic, loyal person. And I was like, you just pegged him. Like totally too. And then he pegged him even further. He puts a glass cup on the stage half full of water. And he was like, that's the space you live in every single day. That's the most important attribute you want the world to know about you. And that's the only place you live. You don't live in this room. You're not a phenomenon. When you were born, you were a phenomenon. When you're a 2-year-old, 3-year-old child, the room is yours. You don't care. You'll do whatever, until we start getting put in that glass or that box. You can't do this. You can't do this. You can't do that. He's like, but those 2 characteristics are the most important things you want people to think about you. And you'll do whatever in your power, even if it's hurting yourself, to make sure that people think that about you. And I was just like, oh man, and then another one, he blew my mind, and I'll get off of him. He was like, the things you want in your life, like people don't fight for it. He's like, so anybody here have 2, 3, 4-year-old? Like I raised my hand. I got the most beautiful daughter on the planet. Like I love her with everything in my heart. And he's like, so if she got kidnapped, and you had 0 money in your account, and they said it was going to cost you $25,000 to get your daughter back, how long would it take you to get that money?
You're like 10
30
minutes. Yeah.
10, 15 minutes, right? Why don't you act in that space in your life and the things that you want and the goals that you want in your life? Like, why do you not have that drive when you want something so bad? We all don't, but why?
Yeah.
You know, if we all lived in that space, and some people just aren't capable, I understand. You know, they want to blame their past. If anybody can be successful, if I can be successful, anybody can. I mean, everything was working against me my entire life, man. My dad told me I would never amount to anything. I never had money. I grew up with nothing. I mean, I don't have a college education. I didn't finish. I went in the Air Force, and that's hard for me to say. It was, but now I'm like, this is me. Like, I don't have a college education. I'm a year and a half short because I had a kid when I was 19 years old. And when I got out of the Air Force, I went to work for Waffle House. And when I got out of Waffle House, I opened up an agency, and I went back to school. And my mentor at the time was like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you going back to school at night? And I was like, well, I want to get my degree. Like, I want to finish. And he was like, so you'd rather go to school at night than to pour into your business? And the best advice he ever gave me. Like, if I would have gone back to school, my business wouldn't be what it is today, because I would have spent another year and a half, 2 years, you know, working 6-7 hours of my business. And, you know, it's all what we tell ourselves. It's all what society tells us. So if I can be successful, anybody can, because nothing was working for me. Nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. And I just said, when I lived in my car, I was like, I am going to be the biggest agent in the country. And I will be. One day I will be the biggest agency in the country, mark my words. And I will be one of the richest people in the world. And not just because I want money, but because it's a challenge. And I know I can do it, right? There's no one that's going to stop me but me. It's what I do. And I want to, and I'm going to have the most money. I'm going to have the best family life. I'm going to have a balanced life. I'm going to give my daughter, my wife, and my son the best life possible. It doesn't have to be this or that. I'm going to give everything. And I think you can. You just got to be smart. And you got to surround yourself with the right people. You got to have the right process. And for the listeners, if you haven't read The Principle by Ray Dalio, another phenomenal book. It's intimidating because it's like 700 pages long, and it's a big old book, but there's a lot of content in there that can help you. Man, I love talking to you guys. You guys are freaking amazing, man. I hope your podcast gets like 7 million people listening, because they should, man. You guys are amazing beings.
Dude, I love talking to you, man. Your perspective on stuff is so awesome. And you know, it's funny. You said that you were going to be the biggest agent, and I know for some people they're going to be like, okay, he's got an ego. But I mean, when I hear you saying that, you are saying that you're going to put in as much effort and whatever it takes to get that. Like one of my goals, I like building businesses, and I want all of my businesses to get to 9 figures one year. Like, that's the ultimate. I don't want to make 9 figures. I don't want to do that, but I just want the machine and to help people and
legacy.
Yes. To be able to create jobs for people and create cultures that are that. I mean, one thing is when people goes to work, right? Like, how much is it? How many people say they hate going to work? Like, why? Work can be freaking awesome, and we can all help each other. Yep. And just like you, I love what you're doing with the book club and trying to improve people's lives that come into your life, and you're trying to improve not just their finances, because the finances are this and that, right? They'll buy gas and rent, but like, what really feeds us is those extra things, our soul, our how we feel that day. Like, are we helping people? Like, so
it's not about ego and being the biggest, but it's a game, right? Like,
it's a game.
Why can't I be? It's not, and that's another thing that the agent told me. She was like, you know, people just don't feel like they can relate to you. And I'm like, I want to show people you can relate to me. You can do I'm not anything special at all. I'm not. I just learn from everybody. I'm going to ask you. And this is another thing, another lesson. My grandfather, he taught me so many things. I learn from everybody, even what not to do. I try to learn what not to do more than what to do. Because,
Yeah.
you know, all the, you know, people complain about the bosses that they worked for. They complain about bye, Catherine. They complain about, you know, how bad management is. Learn and get better from it. And then make sure if you're ever in that position or you're a leader, don't ever do that. Like
Right.
put that in your belt and make sure you never do that. But also try to talk to that person and be open and have a conversation with them. But I mean, you can learn from like everyone. I mean, every situation. I mean, you can learn from the president, you know, stupid stuff that he does or smart stuff that he does or whatever. I mean, you can learn from Tom Wilson. You can learn from Glenn Shapiro. You can learn, you know, good things from you guys. I mean, maybe you guys make mistakes. I know I made mistakes. You know, like even that comment, like that's not an egotistical comment because people don't live in that space. But what I was trying to say is if I can do it, anybody on this planet can do it. You know, I'm not an MIT graduate. I'm not a Harvard graduate. I'm not even a college graduate. So if I can do it, anybody on this planet, and that's what I tell my team. Like my goal is to make sure, like I have a girl working for me that she's been with me 18 years. Her name's Amanda Strader. Because of this opportunity I provided her, she put her 40-year-old husband through college. And he's now a school teacher doing what he loves, not making the most money in the world, which is a crime, I think, in the United States. I mean, our school teachers should be the highest paid people on the planet. I mean, they're educating people coming up. You know, she makes more money than him, but they make enough money in a household where he enjoys his job, she enjoys her job, and I provided that opportunity. You know, I should rephrase that. She provided that opportunity because she works her ass off. And she's done a good job for me and she's been loyal and she's been able to do that for her family. And that's what I want to do. I want to impact the people here. And when they come in and be like, man, I've worked for a lot of companies and nobody cares about me more than you ever have in my life. And this is where I want to be here. And that's why I think you can build a good culture, right? I mean, that's what I enjoy. I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I was 27, I had an ego the size of the United States of America. It was massive. The name of my business was Jay Adkins and Associates, and I love to hear my damn name ring off of people's. I'd walk in, hey, yeah, that's right, Jay Adkins and Associates. Then I named it the Adkins Group when I started expanding. And then I realized that was a really bad decision because everybody wanted to talk to Mr. Adkins. Yep. And I couldn't talk to all the customers. So that's when I changed to ProVest Insurance Group, which the reason I did that is because the two things we do are the most important aspects of people's life. I tell people we are the most important professional in your life. We're going to protect the assets you work really, really hard for, and we're going to help you invest assets to make sure you can retire with the right amount of money in the bank and have a good retirement. So who's more important than me? I mean, if you get in a financial crisis because you didn't have the right amount of insurance or you didn't save along the way, I mean, your doctor might help you in a health crisis, but I'm going to help you your entire life. And so that's why I changed the name. Because I didn't want my name on it anymore. I don't even want when we win, it's not me. I don't have anything to do with it. I'm not digging a ditch every day. I'm not making $400 a day. I'm just giving you the tools. Like that's what agents need to think about when they build this business is, you know, people are like, you're not even in the business anymore. Dude, I wrote lots of business. When I was the first 3 years of my business, I hustled my tail off to create this opportunity. And I know what I'm doing. I know how to do it. But you can build something phenomenal. And again, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Anybody. And you could do it in any business. You just got to be up every day, consistent, and have the right attitude and the right mentality. And you're going to get kicked in the nuts daily. Daily. And when you do, it's an obstacle. You just need to be like, man, that was awesome. Now I know not to do that. You know, now I'm gonna, you know, but most people just lay down and they're like, man, this is just too much.
And that's it. Then they give up. Down to just like the dials, right? Oh, well, they said no, or they didn't answer. That's it.
Yep. And it's a process. You got to have processes, man. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. People don't have processes, or they do. They don't manage them. They don't monitor them. Yep. You know, you got to have people that know you're going to be looking at them, because if you don't, then they're going to just be like, he's not going to care. This is the new thing this week.
Yep.
Next week, we're not going to be doing that. In a month, we're not going to be doing that. Just hold on. We're just
like what we say about the company, because it changes every 6 months. Right?
Well, you know, and I would tell you this about the change for people that are with Allstate. All I want you to think back on is about 20 years ago when you used to go to Blockbuster Video on Friday night, and you would go through the aisles and you would rent your video, and you would, go home and watch your video, and then you would leave it in the car for like 2 weeks, and you would get all these penalties. And then Hulu and Netflix and everyone started coming out, and Blockbuster didn't pay attention. Where's Blockbuster?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They're out of business. So we got to constantly be changing and evolving. And I know, again, it's money. But if they're not changing, if we're not changing the way we do business, and that's the thing, we got to change our business too. We got to change the way we do business. We can't I can't do what I did 20 years ago. I got to do it completely different now. I got to have, a CRM. I got to have a phone system that can make $500 a day for an employee, because only 10 people are going to pick up.
Right.
So, I mean, if I only dial 200, only 3 are going to pick up. So I can't win that way. Right. So you just got to invest in the business. And I know it's going to be hard for people to hear this, but every aspect of your life, you just got to stay positive. And if you don't like something, then focus your energy on something that you think you can be successful at, and you're probably going to fail. But I don't think there is a better business in the world than insurance.
There's some kind of opportunity in every challenge, right? In every problem that presents.
Always.
I would say the last thing I want to ask you is, you've referenced your grandpa a lot. What did he mean to you? What did you see him do growing up, and how did that impact you?
Well, my grandfather made me aware that I need mentors, because he was a mentor very early on, and he made me seek out mentors, because I always saw my grandfather having mentors. So back then he used to smoke cigars and drink coffee, and he would always tell my grandmother he was going to the cigar bar, and I would always just ask, why does Grandpa always go to the cigar bar? And he's like, he's meeting with his mentor. So I'd ask my grandfather, why, do you meet with mentors? And he was like, because, there's a lot smarter people than me that I can learn from, and that I can, bring back to my family, and I can bring back to, the business that I'm in. And so he meant a lot to me, because I don't know that I would have seeked out the mentors that I have. And, I truly believe that every single person should have multiple mentors. Like there's your platform, there's our platform. You go to Barnes and Noble's, there's thousands of books at Barnes and Noble's on the same topic. So everyone has a different perspective. So, invest in learning. And that's what my grandfather did. And I would always be like, so do they meet with you for free? He's like, no, I pay them. I pay them money, because he was like, I'm a decent golfer, but one of the mistakes I made at an early age is I always got free lessons from all my friends that were a little better than me. And it helped me exactly what I paid for. He said, when you pay for a mentor, you pay for a coach, they're going to help you. And so I think what he meant to me was teaching me something early on. And then I saw him as a mentor, because all through his life, he taught me all these little lessons, but I always seek out mentors, man. Always, always, always. So I think that's the biggest lesson that he taught me is, you're never, I mean, he was 65 years old, still going to his mentors, still meeting with his mentors, trying to improve his life, and still reading, and still trying to learn every single day of his life, and never watching TV, never doing anything that was going to poison his mind. He was just always doing things that was going to help lift him up. And he never really, like, when he mentored me, he never like pushed those things on me. He just had a way about teaching me how important it was to have people in your life that care about you. And he always said people care more about you when you pay them money than if you just use them for nothing. He said they'll tell you more, and they're more invested. And he said, you know what? You're more invested when you're paying money to pay attention. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the biggest thing. And I've paid lots of money to mentors. I go to lots of shows. Listen, we're in the business of putting on shows. So I want to make sure I put on the best show and learn from people. I want to make sure our content is good. I want to make sure that when I'm in front of people that I deliver. And that's why, look, LeBron James, the best basketball player in the world. What if his coach just said, hey man, you've been doing this 17 years. Like, you got the floor tonight, man. Just, run everything. Never going to happen, right? Because you need someone on the outside telling you where you're messing up. Tiger Woods has never taken one single shot in one single tournament in his life without his coach outside the ropes looking at everything that he's doing, taking notes, making him better. Like, and that's the thing. When I came in this business, I didn't do it first. 27 to 33, dude, I was the man. Are you kidding? The ego size of the United States. Like, I'm the best in this business. I don't need anybody, you know? And then I was just like, okay, all right, 5 years, I'm 3 million. Not going to be the biggest agent in the country, you know? And I'm not saying just Allstate. I want to be the biggest in the country because I want my team to be a part of that. I want them to make, 6-7 figures a year. And we could do that together in this business.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, a coach is important. And you know, the people, I listen to podcasts every day because I'm going to learn, you know, I want to learn from people. And you guys are doing a great job being those mentors and getting these guests to come on and talk about what their life is. And hopefully, you know, I've said one thing that can impact one person and change their life and help you guys out and on your mission to do that.
Love it. You definitely have dropped a lot of awesome knowledge nuggets today.
I hope so, man. I hope I've done that for you guys. I appreciate you guys inviting me on here and let me be a part of this because it was cool. And for anybody that ever feels like they might be intimidated by me, what I would say is just come say hello. Let's have a conversation. Let's get to know each other and let me help you with your business. I would love to be able to do that. I would be honored to answer any questions you have, man. If we're at a national forum or we're at any kind of conference or wherever, man, come up to me and shake my hand and let's have a conversation. Don't let the suit intimidate you, man. It's just a style.
It is. Back to the suit conversation. I didn't grow up wearing them or like feeling comfortable in it. So for me, it's literally just the comfortability. Like if I throw on a suit with a tie, I just feel uncomfortable. And if I feel uncomfortable, I'm not me. Yeah. And to you were brought up to where
I would be. My grandfather had one every day. So I never saw him in anything besides a 3-piece. Yeah. He awesome. Was in a 3-piece suit literally he would not come out of the room in the morning until he had his 3-piece on. And his hair slicked back and, you know, looking like a
That's awesome.
Never ever saw him Saturday, Sunday, whatever, he had his 3-piece on. Get his hair cut, had his 3-piece on. So it was just what I was around. And, you know, he just always told me like, and if I would come over, you know, even I remember being 8 years old and my hair was a little messy. And he was like, how the hell would you leave the house like that? Like, what if you ran into the president of the United States and he, you know, wanted to have a conversation with you? Like, you never know who you're going to run into. And that's what he says on the plane. Like, you never know who you're going to sit next to on an airplane that could change your life forever. And that's the thing. You never know, like, who you go up and talk to that is going to transform your life or be your best friend or be your next investor in your business, or you just never know. So you're always on stage, always be on. And again, one of the things that's going to draw people into you, Jason, is that smile, man. Because you just, I do smile, but I don't have that thing. Like, you know, and Craig is just like, dude, yesterday we had on a call within 2 minutes. I was super comfortable talking to him. I just wanted to have like a 5-10 minute conversation. I think we talked for like 45 minutes yesterday, and it wasn't even about this. It was just about life and business, and you know. So, and I know we've gone over on the time, man, but it was again amazing to talk with you guys, and I'm gonna try to get Gary John Bishop on here with you guys. I got a couple other people that I think would be really interesting that you guys should talk to and be able to impact some people out there. So. I'm a big supporter of you guys, man. I hope you guys continue to crush this.
It is all our pleasure. So thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Well, that's the cast with Jay Adkins. Thank you so much, Jay.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
55% of insurance sales producers say that they have had little or no sales training. Us agents focus on marketing to drive activity and often overlook the sales presentation. Improvements in mindset, shifting focus, rapport, needs diagnosis, value building, creating buy-in, and overcoming objections lead to drastically better closing numbers. The solution? Enroll your team in September's Sales Summit offered by Agency Vault. We will even assess your team to see which of their sales steps need the most improvement. Head to agencyvault.com to sign up before it's full.
Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.